The Whistler in the Woods. It was a crisp autumn evening when a group of 5 friends, excited for their weekend camping trip, set up camp deep in the woods, miles away from civilization. The sun had set, leaving only the flickering light of their campfire casting shadows on the trees. They laughed and told stories, the crackling fire the only sound accompanying their voices. As the night grew darker, they noticed a strange, almost melodic whistling echoing through the trees. It was faint at first, but it quickly grew louder, circling the camp from all directions. It wasn't the wind, it was too rhythmic, too deliberate. At first, they thought it might be someone else camping nearby. But then it became clear. The sound wasn't coming from any direction in particular. It was as if it was coming from all around them at once. The group hushed, uneasy. One of them, Mark, joked, probably just a bird or a lost hiker. But no one laughed. The whistling didn't stop. It was eerie, almost unnatural, like it was beckoning them. Curiosity got the best of them. Armed with flashlights, they ventured into the woods to investigate. They walked for what seemed like hours, the whistling always just out of reach. The trees seemed to grow denser, the forest darker, until they could barely see a few feet in front of them. Suddenly, the whistling stopped. An oppressive silence settled over them. They turned to head back to camp, but something was wrong. They didn't recognize the path they had taken. The woods around them looked unfamiliar, almost as if the forest had shifted, rearranged itself. Panic set in. Suddenly, a chilling voice echoed through the trees, "You're not lost. You're found." Mark, shivering, looked around. There was no one there. The whistling resumed, now closer. And the voice spoke again. Low and menacing, "You came for the wrong reasons." They ran, desperately trying to retrace their steps. But no matter which way they went, the path seemed to lead them deeper into the woods. The whistling grew louder, almost as if something was following them. And then, without warning, it stopped. They reached a clearing and found their campsite. But something was wrong. The fire was out. The tents were torn, their belongings scattered. And standing in the middle of the camp was a figure, hunched over. It turned slowly to face them, and in the dim light, they saw its face, a twisted, hollow grin, eyes too dark, too deep, like there was nothing inside. The whistling came from its mouth, as if it were the very source of the sound. The last thing any of them remembered was the figure's laugh, echoing through the woods as they ran in terror. The next morning, rangers found the abandoned camp, with no sign of the friends. There was only one clue, footprints, leading into the woods. And deep in the woods, the faint sound of a whistle could still be heard, carried by the wind.